to the OhioRAAM Show.
There you go, Jim.
OhioRAAM Show, the show about ultracycling and all things bicycling. Hey, Lee, how are you?
Okay, I wasn't sure whether you had a lag there or what went on, but I'm doing pretty good.
Interesting. I don't know. Okay,
yeah, good. Nice day today here in the Miami Valley, which is
definitely
a part of the Race Across America route, and we're happy to be here as a result of the wonderful people who run our time stations here in Ohio. Time station 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, 43 in Chillicothe. They're open 24 hours a day. Hey, if you're here in the Midwest anywhere and you'd like to see the Race Across America, this is a great place to come, because at all our time stations, there'll be people here who know about the race, who can explain what's going on and fill you in. And they keep up to date, and they're here 24 hours a day, and just wonderful folks. So many of them. Jim's one of them, and maybe this is a good time. Well, let's talk about Mike, the sign man.
All right, let me grab that one.
Yeah, grab that slide. He's the one that puts the signs out here in Indiana and Ohio. And again, we always remind you that he does that from his own pocket. And if you'd like to help him do that, it costs him in the hundreds of dollars. I'm not going to guess how much, but to keep that going. And so a little donation he would appreciate. It's a good way of saying thank you for the signs.
Definitely, because we lose quite a few every year. Yep.
Lose quite a few every year. He has to replace them, and he has to buy them in bulk in order to get a decent price. So I don't know where he's at with that. I haven't talked to him recently. I don't know if you have or not, Jim, but
no, I have not, unfortunately. It's coming up on that time now.
A little donation would encourage Mike. Not that he's discouraged, but it's always good to say thank you. And you can do that at our website, OhioRAAMshow.com. On the right-hand side, right at the top, you'll see a place where you can donate to Mike. And, of course,
definitely,
if you stop by our stations, you can get one of them for $10, and that gives enough money for Mike to put one on the road. And so I interrupt. Jim, I told you before we went on the air, it's kind of been a hard week for me. I've lost a couple of friends that I care about a lot, and one of them is Walt Smith. Walt
Very
is
good
such
guy.
a wonderful guy. He well, let's run this little. I got this little piece of video of him the last time I saw him face to face, and let's just run it.
I'm Walt Smith from Harrison, Ohio. I've had the pleasure of crewing on RAM for Matt Bond, and came up here to the 41 time station. See Lee.
Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Good. That's perfect.
Okay. I'm Walt Smith.
Walt is one of those wonderful guys, and such a delight to know and call a friend. Actually, we go back to the days when the race come through Ohio before it went south for a number of years. He was at Richmond. I was there at Englewood time stations. And then when we came back, he and I worked together up at Troy, Jim, and then later on at Oxford. I don't recall him being any of the other stations, but what a wonderful guy.
I had the pleasure of working with him.
And in the show notes, you'll see a link to his obituary. It's quite an interesting person. I learned a lot that I didn't know about Walt in that obituary. So take a little time to go down there and take a look at it.
Definitely.
Well, I want to thank everybody for following us on Facebook. Please do if you haven't. On YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And while you're there, ring that bell. And that always is something we appreciate a lot. Hey, while we're nonsense,
I terrible lag tonight, Lee. Sorry.
Pardon? I'm lagging.
Got a terrible lag tonight. Sorry. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, it's on his end. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's the internet, folks. So we were just bragging before we went on the air how wonderful it is.
Yep.
You should never brag about it. I guess you shouldn't brag about it. Somebody, I should say, took this photo of me. I was looking for a photo of Walt. This was 41 Time Station up in Troy back in 2005. And you wonder what I'm doing there. This was in the early days of Wi-Fi. And the rumor was that you could attenuate a Wi-Fi signal by using a Pringles can over the credit card sized insert you had to put in a laptop in those days to get a Wi-Fi signal. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Things have come so far, haven't they, Jim?
Yes, they have. Great, and hopefully it'll even get better.
Jim, comments and questions. Help us.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to come through okay from my side. If you're watching out there, give us a comment or question for us or the guest tonight. If not, just tell us where you're watching from. It'd be a great thing to have you be able to give you a shout.
Yeah, and you're doing all right now, Jim.
Yeah, it's kind of kicking in and out. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. That's one of the reasons why there's.
I'll let you drive. I'll let you drive a little bit more than me.
Okay.
As far as talking.
Well, I got my water bottle. You know, my throat gives me trouble, so we'll try to get between the two of us. Between the two of us, we might make 3/4 of a coast here. You think? I don't know.
I think so.
It's time to get on with our work here. Hey, next week we're going to have that phenom from Iowa, known as Heather Poskovich. She just comes on and burns the road up every place she goes. And she's going to be our guest again. She's been on the show a number of times. She's such a wonderful, wonderful guest. And she's going to be doing Race Across America this year. We knew she was going to come sooner or later, didn't we? And so she's decided that this is her year. So we'll have her on next week, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Hey, there's a comment.
In a minute. Yeah, there's a problem. Yes.
Yep.
Hi, Scott Ryder from
there you go.
Tokyo. He was running in the Tokyo Marathon yesterday. I was just telling Jim, I really didn't find out what your time was. I think you did pretty well compared to past performances and so forth. But so that's my youngest son. And Jerry says, welcome back, Jim. Yeah, we're always glad to have
there you go.
Jim back.
Yep.
The trouble, Jerry, is he went and got a job. And,
I know. I had to buy more bike parts, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, work is a 4-letter word. And so that's his problem. Yeah. Oh, come on. We better get to our guests because
there you go.
Say, get these guys out of here. Hey, let's go out to California. Jonathan, how are you tonight?
I'm good, fellas. How are you guys? Good?
Well, sorry for taking all that time just messing around.
You're good. No problems at all. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Jane, thanks a lot for that. Congratulations. I'm sure Scott saw it. I don't know when he's coming back, to be truthful, but apparently still there. He learned one Japanese word, didn't he, Jim? Konnichiwa, I believe it is.
Yep. There you go.
Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. What would you like to know?
Who are you and why are you here?
I'm here because a wonderful gentleman sent me an email saying, hey, want to come on the show and come and chat and talk about RAM stuff? So I figured, why not?
Go ahead.
I'm new into cycling. I've only been doing it for a few years, and I'm a CEO at a company, NorCal Remodeling Group. I started on this adventure back in 2015. A good friend of mine, Jay Baldwin, Unfortunately, he got hit by an IED in Afghanistan. So my other good friend, Brian Wood from the British Army, he picked up the phone in January of 2015 and said, "Hey, John, crazy idea." I was in California at the time. He's like, "How do you fancy cycling from Annapolis in Maryland to Santa Monica in California?" And I was like, "What's it for?" He's like, "We're going to get Jay new legs." So I was like, "Sure, no problems. Sounds like a great idea." And then I realized exactly what the magnitude was. So I bought a bicycle because I wasn't riding a bike.
Wow.
9 months later, in September, as a team, we raced across America in reverse, which I don't recommend because the prevailing winds through Kansas, not pretty at all. We got smashed going all across that area. It was 5 men on, 5 men off, 6 hours on, 6 hours off. And we just beasted it across America in 10 days, raised
Awesome.
a huge amount of money for Jay and also for the foundation. And it's a wounded military foundation for the UK. And then from there, we just high-fived it, right? And I got to know about Race Across America. So it was at that stage, I had 2 very young daughters at that stage. So it wasn't truly feasible to even start training and doing things at that point. And then I got to my 39th birthday in 2020, and I said, "Okay, this is the year, let's go do it." So I hopped on a bike and started training. About 3 months into it, I realized that training was not going how I thought it would. I grabbed a training coach who was Tim Fleming from Endurance Performance Training Center, began to build the team that I needed. And I was super fortunate to be pointed in the direction of a wonderful lady called Asia, who was my physio and ended up being crew chief in future things. My actual crew chief was Dan Hartley, who's stepped into the scene. He's an ultra marathon runner guy, absolutely crazy, runs Badwater, things like that. And then the rest of the team was built around it, some really awesome folks that all came together. And so I jumped into RAM in 2021 with what I thought was good training, what I thought was preparation. And just truth be told, Mother Nature handed me my backside, quite literally. And I don't know how deep you want me to go into this, but short version is we were in Arizona. I think I was about 400 miles in, roughly. Again, it was 128 degrees Fahrenheit, and I blacked out on the bike. My media team were in front of me. They just passed me, and they saw me stack it. I bust the top tube cracked the top tube on the bike. The saddle went up my left butt cheek and ripped it basically, and bruised it and messed it up. So Asia put me back together, like literally every day for the next 1,000 miles. So there was a lot of out of the saddle cycling. The whole positioning, everything that I trained for was just completely out of the window. And I'm just going to be real about it. I was not trained for that heat. I mean, you can see my tan lines right now because I've begun heat training about 3 weeks ago now. So we will not step into RAM. Yeah, right. But as I say, it was a full team event. Got up and over the Rockies, got all the way through to, I want to say it was like 80 or 90 miles before Fort Scott. There was this random bathroom that we ended up at, and I just wanted to use the restroom. As soon as I pulled my shorts down, my entire butt cheek came with me, basically, and all of the butterfly stitches, everything we put on to hold it, just came away. So it was, at that stage, it was a no-go. So here we are now. Last year not last year, but just after RAM was a little more challenging. I got healed up. Asia was my crew chief for Hoodoo 500. And again, I take my hat off to the lady because I went from last place to third place because of how she handled me as a little bulldog, for want of a better word, at that stage, fed correctly, watered correctly, all of that sort of stuff. I did my usual trick. I came out the gates fast. So, my crew chief now, and we'll get to that one in a second, he's like, pump the brakes, easy, Tiger, But it's it was really cool. Hoodoo was a massive success personally. You know, I got to hang out with Martin Landsman again and the usual faces, you know, so always a good time. I think he's on RAM this year as well. So we'll catch up and high five at Wolf Creek Pass again, you know. And then went on to World Time Trial Championships, and I was just struggling with a groin injury and just the heat again. Like, you know, the heat is the thing that has been my nemesis. So we're working on it hard and early now. I'm actually in Florida next week to get some more heat training on the go. It's the only warm place in America right now, apparently. You know, here's me, like I'm 6 hours away from Death Valley from cooking, and it's like 60 degrees over there right now. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so it's ended up that in 2022, I had to get surgery done on my groin and stuff like that at the back end of 21, and that lasted through to 2022. And again, I mean, Arcia put me back together, quite frankly. You know, physio work, or you know, from an NKT and physio side of things, she's one of the best people I know. I mean, like, she's top dog on the planet. So it's been kind of cool to have that availability there, you know. And then I bumped into the Beamer team. That's the best way to put it. Chris DeMarchi, Greg Peterson, Ken Kramer, those guys, and honestly, like, the rest of the team, the actual athletes are like insane. They're just a whole nother level of like awesomeness. So I bumped into those guys, and I got to see how the pros do it. I mean, NorCal Remodeling Group is the company that I own. My business partner, Steve, has supported this the whole way as well. We try and raise money for charities every year that we do this now. So the first year was Open Heart Kitchen. Had a great time with that. It's a local food bank in the Tri-Valley area over in the East Bay in California, out near San Francisco. And this year we're going to be racing for Cabral's Crusaders. And just all of the people that are supporting this, I can't say enough thank yous. I mean, truly, you know, it's insane, the community, the amount of people that come together, the advice, the free willingness to help. Like, it's just off the charts. There's nothing I've ever experienced like it before outside of the military world, you know. So it really is phenomenal. So where we stand right now is Chris DeMarchi, who was one of the riders for Team Beamer and set the world record this year. He's my crew chief, along with a good friend of mine, Lane Van Bergen. And we've got a whole host of other people on the team. And yeah, we're just going to heat train, get some nutrition, and get on it, you know.
Well, we must have lost Jim somewhere along the line. You know, he was having a little trouble. Maybe he's rebooting to see if he can't get a better signal and so forth. So you're going to put up with me for a little while at least.
Big fan. Don't worry about it. I love it.
Well, we do our best. Jonathan, you mentioned your charity, and I would love to put a link to that on our show notes. Can you text that to me?
Yeah.
ASAP that when you get off the show, and I'll stick it on the show notes.
Yeah.
And that will be on the OhioRAAMshow.com website. Right below your video, there'll be show notes, and you'll find the link in there. And we'll take care of that. So we'll have that in ASAP as soon as we get off the air, and Jonathan gets that to me. I'll put that in there. Now, Jim left, and I came in about where you started to talk about your crew. So how many crew members have you, and what's your configuration, vehicle-wise, staff-wise, who you got, what you got?
Sure. So for us, and I'll backtrack to last year. The last time we did this, I did hotels and 2 fast-moving vehicles, right? That was the plan. It was okay, but I think it can be a lot more efficient. So this year we're going to go with 2 Sprinter vans, and van 1 and van 2 will be fully equipped to be a standalone vehicle. And so shower in each van, beds in each van, everything's good to go, you know. From an equipment side of things, I mean, I have 3 bikes. I have an Athos, S-Works Athos to climb with, and it's sized one size down, so I can just sit on the bars and climb, and that's worked well for me. I have an SL7, a Tarmac SL7 S-Works, which is set up as my road bike, aero bars ready to go. And then I have an S-Works Shiv, which, as you know, TT bike, sit in the desert and also sit in Kansas and just hammer it out. Disc wheel, multiple spare wheels. All of the bikes are completely compatible with SRAM, ETAP, AXS. So everything is interchangeable. From a communication standpoint, we're fully dialed in with the longest range Motorola's that we can get. You know how it is. The rolling hills, you'll get about 6 miles realistically. If your line of sight, obviously you'll get the 20 miles, that kind of thing. But I didn't have joy with some of the other stuff that's out there. Obviously, I won't name names. We found that the Motorola handset styles are just they're more superior. And then earpiece in the ear, press to talk on your chest, and everyone's a winner. Food side of things, nutrition. I've tested a lot, and the strongest advice I can give to anyone who's listening on the show is, my nutrition may not be the right nutrition for you. So, if you're coming into this, please test. You have to. Last year I did UCAN, and I found that it had too much fiber in it. So what it did was it exploded my gut. It just fermented into my gut, and about 48 hours in, I was throwing up. So that, combined with the heat, obviously wasn't an easy thing to deal with. This year I'll be running on Grupo Nutrition, which is Darcy Hagith is the gentleman who owns and operates the company. I'm super fortunate because he's on the team. So again, like, just some random people that have come out of the woodwork, like, so fortunate. Chris DeMarchi's my crew chief, and Lane Van Bergen is my crew chief. Lane is a personal friend that I've known for like 15 years. He's into cycling, but not an ultra cyclist, but he's logistically an extremely good man to have as a crew chief, We've got Darcy, who is educated in nutrition. Whilst I will not say he's a nutritionist, he's highly educated in nutrition and runs his own nutritional brand. I've tested it in the heat, and bingo, like, it works, Infinite Nutrition is also on hand, because you should always have more than one. Infinite has worked really well as well. So, we've got 2 sources on that for liquid side of things. I am going to be on a solid fuel diet. I'm not Christoph Strasser. I am not the beasts that can just live off of liquid. It's just not in my DNA. I wasn't born in Austria as a mountain goat and can go climb on just oil and things like that. So I'll be consuming 8,000, 10,000 calories a day, and it'll be a blend of liquid food and also regular food. With that, I also have a very good friend of mine, ex-British military guy, physical training instructor. He was a sergeant major in the PT Corps. His name's Tony Gall, and he's flying in from Gibraltar to come and hang and spend 2-3 weeks racing across America with me. It's a big adventure. He does run his own fitness and well-being brands right now, so it's cool to have him on the adventure as well. And then Chris has suggested a couple of people which have jumped on board because I've got to know them as friends as well. Florian Bogue is a previous RAM participant who's done well with RAM. He's completed RAM. And then also on top of that, I have Ken Kramer. And Ken is a beast in his own right. I think he's done 5 or 6 RAM crossings now. Logistically knows his stuff upside down and inside out. So right now we have 7 people on the team. I'm looking for someone who could be a medic / physio. I need to work on that piece right now because I'm hoping that I'll be fully heat trained. But if Mother Nature does what she does best on RAM, then we could be looking at another 130-degree year. So I'm hoping that the snowpack that's stayed so far, the extra long winter that we've had out here, is going to pay dividends and just keep the temperatures that extra 10 degrees cooler, and we'll be in good shape.
I think you might be dreaming a little bit there, Jonathan.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I mean, as Shu Pillinger like to say, they say the heat was unprecedented, and she says, no, it's precedented. This is the way it is now. And it seems to be the case. I don't know. It's a problem. We've had so many close calls with fires, on the route. Had to reroute, was it twice last year, 2 different places, or at least one. And that's becoming an increasing problem. So it seems like this whole weather situation, climate change, what you want to call it, is causing us increasing challenges along the route. And in fact, we just about had a flood here today, not at my house, but I mean, I was by the river, and things are really boiling here. Yeah. So what's your goals?
Number 1, finish. All right. I DNF'd on my first ever RAM. That was really hard. I needed a moment, just to be real about it. So part of finishing comes down to, and I know I haven't mentioned him yet, is Dr. Vince is with Infinity Bike Seats and Bike Saddle, I should say. You guys probably know him, right? When I did RAM on the first one, that saddle that went up into my butt cheek and ripped it and all that sort of jazz and messed me up. I won't obviously name names, but it was a high-end saddle. It's a $400 saddle. But it caused me issues, and so the training now, all of my bikes now have Infinity bike saddles, and when I go race now, or I go sit on a bike for like 6-8 hours, 24-hour world time trials, that sort of thing, I now have 0 issues. So, the main goal is to get it finished, but then subsequent little goals within that is, before you even get to the start line, being 1000% prepared with all of the right kit and equipment, and it's tested in full. So we're doing that, and we've been feverishly doing that with absolutely everything. So bike equipment and setup from a goals perspective, I'm totally happy. We're good. From an equipment perspective for vehicles and everything else, bingo. We've got all of the stuff we need, radios, everything else, right? Lights, you name it, it's all there. From a crew perspective, we've got the right people on the bus, which is really fantastic. So those goals have been met at this stage. The next thing comes down to the race itself is finish. And if it all goes swimmingly, I mean, I want to be done in like 9 days. I mean, that'd be really nice, So I don't know what Mother Nature has in store for us. So I'm going to respectfully, sit there and say, hey, finish first, focus on what Mother Nature throws at me second. Because Race Across America really is not Race Across America. It's race against Mother Nature, and it's race to eat as much as you can. All right. The more you can eat, and the more Mother Nature is kind to you.
And keep it down.
Yeah, right.
And keep it down. Yeah. Well, poor Jim out there. He's been having all kinds of trouble, and I'm glad you're back with us, fella. I don't. Well,
hopefully
hear you,
not.
But...
Hopefully it'll be a little bit before it crack. Yep, I know. It's like Windows 10 updates.
Yes, well, we've been discussing Windows before you got here, Jonathan, and I don't know. Let's not get in that subject, Jim, right here now. We need to thank Jonathan for being with us, and we wish you well. And Jim will tell you that we will have a very warm welcome for you here in Ohio when you get here. Probably a wet one as well. We like to throw some fireworks into the scene just to tell you how much we love you. So we'll try to make a complete package.
Awesome. I love it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Get you ready for West Virginia and so forth. Well, thanks a lot. Jim, have you got anything you'd like to ask Jonathan, since you were... Well, you know.
I would like to, but I don't think it's going to very well.
Yeah. Well, it's, the nice thing about this show is we don't claim to be professionals, and we show it every show, don't we, Jim? We prove it again and again.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Well, you try to prepare it.
It's something. You're still having breaking up a little bit, Jim. Okay. Well, with that, thank you all for watching. We want to thank those of you who have subscribed on YouTube. For those of you who have followed us on Facebook, we appreciate that. If you haven't done so, please do so, because that helps get out the word on ultracycling, and that helps to allow other people to find out about this sport that's as crazy as all get out, but we all love. So next week, the remarkable Heather Poskovich will be our guest again, 8:00 Eastern time again. And Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Let's get Greg in here to send us out. Don't go away, Jonathan.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.